Alright guys, so I did a top 5 best new moves in Season 4. Now let's do the worst 5 new moves in Season 4. And to start with, I think Shaheen's back 2 is pretty bad because it's 15 frame, it's a counter hit launcher, or counter hit grab, but it doesn't have any tracking at all, and the range is not really there. I think you literally can just use them for 2 in the same situations where you'll use back 2 anyway. Because on block, it's -9 anyway, so you give up your turn. So I think you might as well just use them for 2 instead, because at least them for 2 normal hit launches, and it's not as bad on block. So you can still kind of do things a little bit. But yeah, I think Shaheen's back 2 is definitely like one of the worst for sure, and that's it for him. So the next move I want to talk about is Leo's KNK 3+4. Why I think this move would be a candidate for the bottom 5 worst moves is because it comes out of a stance only, and I think it's pretty reactable, especially when it comes out of a stance, and the animation is pretty distinct. So you get this is what happens on normal hit, but as you can see, it staggers on block. It's 24 frame and it's locked in a stance. So when you see Leo in KNK stance, it's probably something that you can look out for and be wary that, you know, it could hit you. So I don't know if this move is really a threat. Once you start seeing it, you know, it's not really an option that you have to worry about. So yeah, I think this is definitely a move that isn't really worth considering. The next move, in my opinion, is Negan's up for 2. Why I think this move is kind of bad is because it's a 16 frame, unsafe on block counter hit launcher. So I really don't see a use for this at all. So it's -11, as you can see. You can go into Intimidation afterwards, but your punish will interrupt him out of everything anyway. So I don't really see a use for this move at all. Especially when you have upward 4, which is it's 1 frame slower, but it's safe on block at least. So yeah, I mean, what's the point of this move? It's literally just an unsafe mid counter launcher. So I think it's a pretty good candidate for one of the worst 5 moves that introduced in Season 4. Because Negan's tracking is pretty good, and this move tracks one way only, but you might as well just use anything else that's safe to track that way, you know? So yeah, I don't see a use for this move at all. The next move I want to talk about is Alissa's Boot 1+2. Now it is a high unblockable that goes into destroy form on hits, but why I think this is kind of bad is it's really telegraphed. Like, it's a very slow high, it's pretty linear, and I think Chanel even says that he could react to it with his eyes closed, just listening for the audio cue, because she has a very distinct audio cue when she does it. And of course the hit sparks, and like when she goes for an unblockable, the sparks come out. So I think it is a pretty telegraphed move, and I don't think it's that good, to be honest. But I mean, if it works, you know, it's +8 into destroy form, but it is pretty telegraphed, especially when it comes out of a stance. So you'd be looking out for it, and then you can react to it with the hit sparks and the audio cue as well. That's if you didn't step in the first place, because it is pretty linear on top of it as well. It tracks one way a little bit, but most of the time you can normally step it anyway. But you can just react to it raw, I think, with practice anyway. So yeah, I think Alissa definitely deserves a spot in this list. So the last move that I want to talk about in this top 5, or bottom 5, sorry, I should say, is Gigas Golden 4-1. Now apparently this move does improve his combos a little bit, but let's look at the move itself. So it's a 0 on hit low with a high extension, not natural combo, only on counter hit. But it's pretty unlikely to get counter hit with this anyway. And it's dead on block, so as you can see, it's -16 on block. And the high itself is -1, but I'm pretty sure your characters can option select the punish anyway, and like it's the only low that Gigas has out of Golem, but it's still pretty trash low. It's very similar to his Denmark 3, Denmark 3-1 is it? Yeah, Denmark 3-2. It's very similar to his Denmark 3-2, except the frame punch is a bit worse, or a bit better, but it's still very weak low in my opinion. Like, you could get so much better than this. So yeah, I think this is definitely a consideration for the bottom 5. It's launch punishable, it's 0 on hit, and it's a high follow-up that's not even natural counter, or not even natural normal hit anyway. So yeah, I think that's it for the list, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you disagree and you think there's a worse move than the 5 listed. Of course, I'm open to hearing more opinions. and let me know in the comments what you think. And thanks for watching.